Hey everyone. Now, in case you've been living under a rock and don't know about this, Lauren Williams, otherwise known to wrestling fans and most importantly TNA wrestling fans, as Angelina Love, as of yesterday has been released from her contract from TNA. Now, the reason for this release is because, as we found out yesterday, and we got more details about it today, Angelina, Lauren, had been working illegally for 2 years here in the United States without a current visa. The visa that she had when she worked for WWE and its developmental territories, Deep South Wrestling and the Florida Championship Wrestling, and even OVW, had expired 2 years ago. And I guess when she signed on for TNA, well, actually what happened is that TNA called her to take part and participate in, after her contract with WWE expired, they called her to participate in the Battle Royal to crown the Gauntlet Battle Royal to crown the first ever Knockouts champion. Now, after giving a good showing, of course, her entire Madison, otherwise known as Velvet Sky, was signed. Like I said, after both giving a good showing, was signed to TNA and renamed Angelina Love and Velvet Sky and put together as the Beautiful People, who originally were brought in as a babyface team. But then later on, I guess TNA wanted to establish some top knockout heels, and thus the Beautiful People became heels, and probably the two top female heels in TNA. But anyway, getting back to what I'm saying. Despite the fact that she had a successful run as part of the Beautiful People, despite the fact she became a two-time Knockouts champion, Angelina was actually doing all this illegally. Now you might say, well, what do you mean illegally if she won the titles because TNA wanted to put it on her? Well, what I mean illegally is because she wasn't, like I said at the beginning, she wasn't working with a current visa, so she was illegally working here in the United States for TNA. Now it's not. Now let me ensure you Angelina Love fans out there, because I like Angelina Love as well. I like her personality. I like how TNA had turned her and Velvet into the Valley Girls that thought they were better than everyone else. But let me assure you that it's not all Angelina's fault. TNA actually has some fault in this as well. I mean, the people who signed Angelina at the time, and I don't know if they're with TNA now or not, but the people that signed Angelina at the time didn't go through the proper channels to get her, and I guess remind her to renew her visa so she could continue working here in the United States. In other words, what that means is that when she was let go out of her developmental contract by WWE, if she wanted to continue working here in the United States, she had to basically renew her visa, right away if she wanted to work for another company like TNA. But that did not happen because I don't know if there was some kind of miscommunication. Obviously there was. And so basically, because of that miscommunication on, I guess, both sides, all three sides or something like that, Angelina for the past 2 years had been working without a current visa and basically working illegally here in the United States. Now, if you're kind of new to this whole visa thing and you're wondering what does that have to do with anything? Well, it's like I said, because even I was a little shocked by this, because it was new to me. But basically, if you're from another country, like say Angelina, she's a Canadian, so she's from Canada. If you come down to the United States, and I'm pretty sure the same goes for all the other countries. If you're a foreigner working in another country, like let's say the United States, you have to have the proper identification to work here. Because if not, you're going to be ending up on one-way trip back to your country. And that's apparently what happened with Angelina. She did not have the legal paperwork and identification to work here in the United States when she signed with TNA because of the miscommunication from all three parties, I guess. I'm not sure. But I know that both Angelina and TNA were at fault of this. Now, to avoid legal action, TNA President Dixie Carter decided that instead of getting drug into court and all that and possibly putting the company in even bigger trouble and turmoil and possibly having it run out of business, I guess, she decided to release Angelina from her contract. Now, Angelina, on the other hand, may get a more severe punishment. That's right. Angelina, from what I read, and apparently a lot of you may have heard about this already today, Angelina may end up facing 10 years banishment from the United States. That's right. Because of this whole situation where she did not renew her visa 2 years ago when she signed with TNA, she could end up facing, and possibly will, but we're not sure yet, facing 10 years banishment from the United States. That's right. Which means if you're a fan of Angelina Love, Laura Williams, or Angel Williams, whatever name she goes by, you may never see her again for 10 years here in the States. I'm not lying. That's the legal action that can be taken against Angelina because she did not renew her visa to stay in this country and work here. She did not renew her visa. And like I said, Dixie Carter wanted to avoid the same kind of legal action or legal action that could spell doom and trouble for her company or for TNA, decided to release Angelina from the contract and thus get TNA possibly as far away from this issue as possible. So that's about it, you know. I hope I made some sense here. I hope you understood where I was coming from on all this. Now, as far as the beautiful people go, now this is kind of a spoiler alert, but the beautiful people, in case you don't want to get spoiled, turn down the volume right now. The beautiful people, as of next week, or as of 2 weeks, as of 2 weeks from this past Thursday, and that's my alarm, that's my watch going off. The beautiful people, like I said, if you don't want to be spoiled, turn down the volume. They're supposed to reach the finals. And how do they do it? Well, this upcoming Thursday, they face off against Madison Rayne and a partner of her choice. Now, they end up winning that match, and then the following week, they end up winning the next match, beating Tara, Victoria, and Christy Hemme. And how do they do this? They do it in thanks to Madison Rayne coming down and spraying some stuff, and I think Victoria's eyes. I believe it's Victoria. I have to read it again. But anyway, they end up in the finals. Now, rumor going around is that Trinity Michaels, who's a close friend of Mick Foley and Hernandez, you know, possibly could be coming in real soon to reform, build a newer version of the beautiful people. Thus, taking Angelina Love's place, possibly either as a leader or possibly as a follower now to Velvet Sky, who can be the leader. But anyway, that's the word going around that Trinity Michaels could be brought in to take part in the finals for the beautiful people of the tag team tournament, of the Knockout Tag Team Tournament at No Surrender. Another way I look at it is that Madison Rayne can end up taking Angelina Love's place and teaming up with Velvet in the finals as well. So, but anyway, that's basically what's happening there because of this whole situation. So that's all I have to say, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to soak up and DVR or DVD record the next two impacts because basically those are going to be the last 2 times we see Angelina for quite a while. And I mean quite a while, because if she does end up getting like a 10-year banishment, you know, that's probably the only memories we're going to have of her. But that's all I have to say, and until next time, God bless, peace.